Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're working on 2.6. And now we're going to look at the graph of two inverse functions. When x has the power of 1 and when x has the power of 2 for my inverse variation. So I'm going to plug in points just like I did last time. And we're going to graph both functions on the coordinate plane. So for my first function here, when x is negative 2, 4 divided by 2, negative 2 is negative 2. When x is negative 1, I get negative 4. When x is 0, that can't happen, right? Not possible. So when x is 1, I get 4. And when x is 2, I get a positive 2. Notice how the numbers are this similar, but not exactly the same reflections that we saw last time. If I graph those on my coordinate plane, I have at least 3 points. So when I have negative 2, that's going to be down here. Negative 1, negative 4 is going to be down here. And if I plotted enough points, I would see this shape right here. Now, for this one, if I have 1, 4, that plots a point here. 2, 2 plots right here, and this will continue along this way. If we plot more points, we'll see this. For these inverse graphs, I will want to see at least 2 points in each quadrant, so you know the relative shape of your graph and which direction it's headed. This tells me which quadrants I'm in, and now I'll move on to 4x squared. This one I'll do in blue. If I have negative 2, when I square it, I get 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Here, negative 1 squared is 1. 4 divided by 1 is 4. 0. Can't do it, right? We can never divide by 0. So 4 divided by 1 is 4. And 4 divided by 2, 2 squared is 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So now I go to plot those points, and I see that 1, positive 4 is right here. I'm sorry. Whoops. I'm working with x and y. Sorry, my x is negative 2. My y is positive 1. So negative 2, positive 1 happens right here. Negative 1, positive 4 happens right here. And now I'm watching this shape happen. Now in this side over here, when x is 1, y is also negative or positive 4. And when x is 2, y is 1. So now I'm seeing this shape happen again. Notice the difference, which quadrants you ended up with when you graphed with x, and which quadrants you ended up with when you graphed x squared. I'd like you to think about why that happens. All right, let's try 2 more. How about with negatives? Make it some kind of conjecture about which quadrants you think I'm going to end up in based on what happened last time. So let's do this first one in red. When I divide by negative 2, I get 1. Divide by negative 1, I get 2. 0 can't happen, right? Divide by 1, I get negative 2. Divide by 2, I get negative 1. Let's come over here and graph. X is negative 2, y is a positive 1. X is negative 1, y is a positive 2. And now I'm watching this happen again. Ooh. When x is a positive 1, y is a negative 2. When x is a positive 2, y is a negative 1. Now I'm watching this happen. Look at what's different with your quadrants. All right? And by different, I mean different from the last graph we did. Now let's look at my x squared graph. This one is negative, where the other one we did was positive. So watch with your quadrants. When x is negative 2, I square it, get positive 4, and I get a negative 1 half. X is negative 1, I square it, get positive 1, I get negative 2. Now when x is 1, I square it, I get negative 2. When x is 2, I square it, get 4. Negative 2 divided by 4 is again a negative 1 half. So now I come over to graph, and when x is a negative 2, y is a negative 1/2. When x is negative 1, y is, oops, I didn't do that right. Hang on. When x is a negative 2, y is a negative 1/2. There we go. When x is a negative 1, y is a negative 2. So this is going to happen. What next quadrant is the next one going to be in? That's right, my output is negative, so it's going to be over here. When x is 1, y is a negative 2. When x is 2, y is a negative 1/2. Ooh. So what I'd like you to do for tomorrow is graph these two functions, and I would like you to think about what the negative does, and what about the whole number, and what the power does. Think about what your power does to your graph, and what the negative does to your graph. All right, graph those on the same plane. Be ready to talk about those things, and I'll see you tomorrow.